This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm joined by Ethan Payne, aka Behzinga. Ethan, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Very, very happy to be here. Fight week's upon us, finally. After all the talk and all the drama, we're here. It's fight week.
Obviously out here in, I was going to say sunny Los Angeles. It was early, it's chilly now.
Chilly tonight. We've brought the London weather with us, that's it. I think there's going to be a good old London crowd out here as well. So we brought a little bit of the weather with us.
We certainly have. How have you found your time out in LA so far? How long have you been out here?
I've been here for nearly a week now. I decided to come out just on a little early break, spend time with a few friends, but it's leading up to the big week, the fight week, and it feels good to be here now.
How much has this been on not just your mind, but everyone in amongst you guys, you know, the Sidemen, as it were? How much has it been?
Yeah, I think we went through a big phase of like nobody knew what was happening. There was sort of like the grey space of not knowing if the fight was actually going to go ahead. But you've got two guys that are so competitive, they're not going to leave it a draw. It was always going to end up happening, and they finally settled a date for it. So as soon as that date got arranged and it came into camp, obviously with the Sidemen and stuff, we all knew that hard work needed to happen. So we all took measures to allow JJ to fully focus on this now. And he's been out here in Vegas for a month as well, putting his craft to good work. And November 9th, he shows it all.
Talked about JJ in this fight. What have you seen with him when you've been in and around him when it comes to this fight? What exactly have you seen with regards to his preparations and how seriously he has taken this rematch?
So I think, like he would say himself, in the last fight, I think he almost came in thinking Logan's got 3 months to train. Like I think I've got a bit of a natural advantage over him, right? But as you could see, Logan came out. He's a talented guy. He picks things up. He's got a good learning curve on him. But I just think this time JJ's put in so much effort now, and he's assembled like such a bigger team around him now. It's like a professional boxing camp. It's not a joke anymore. Like these guys are going out here, a professional fight. They're both professional fighters now, so you've got to take the measures needed to perform in there on the night, and he's done just that.
How much of a shock do you think it's going to be for both of them this time round, getting in there with no head guards and 10-ounce gloves?
Exactly. There's only so many times you can get rattled and stuff without a head guard. Like so, these guys both absorbed shots in the last fight, and you're not going to be able to take the same sort of punishment. So it all depends on how the fight goes. I assume Logan's probably going to come out starting strong again, but JJ's got a different approach this year, and his technique's definitely a bit tardier. So
yesterday at the 40-day screening, KSI said, or JJ as you call him, he's going to produce one of the greatest knockouts in boxing history. Your thoughts on those words?
Great. It's a lot of fight talk, right? It's fight week. It's time to really apply the pressure and get in someone's head and hype up because it's finally here. Someone's getting knocked out. I believe that. I really don't believe this is going to 6 rounds. And I do think JJ's got the ability to get on the inside and really hurt Logan this time.
Who do you think there's more pressure on?
If anything, I'd probably say there's more pressure on Logan because he's come out with that whole first round decapitation stuff. Like he thinks he's really going to dominate JJ, and I think he's going to be in for a shock once it gets past that first round. I think he might put a bit too much pressure on his own shoulders. What's
JJ's discussions been with yourselves and his family, etc., with regards to beyond this fight? Let's say if he was successful, does he anticipate any more bouts in the boxing world? Or
of course, he's always got his eye on potential opportunities and where he can go with something. He likes to, when he goes into something, he likes to take it as far as he can and apply himself to the best of his abilities. So who knows, once he gets done here, he could go on to fight a journeyman. He could show that, okay, I can actually compete in this world, because I think he's better than some people that have pro contracts. Like I think he could get in there and cause some damage. So who knows, maybe we'll go on to do more fights.
What about yourself and the rest of the Sidemen, as you're all called? Any of you guys fancy it?
I was meant to fight on the first card. It fell through. So who knows? I don't know. Maybe one day. It always tickles my fancy a little bit, but you never know.
So just on Saturday night, what exactly should we expect? Just two guys trading leather, or do you think that you've seen more to suggest otherwise?
I think you're gonna see in the first round a lot of like nervous energy from the both. Nervous energy from a few people in there, both of them in there, because this is a whole new thing now. They've got no head guards. They're going to try and feel each other out because they've now had a year gap to learn their craft now. But I do think when someone gets that first feeling of being rocked with a 10-ounce glove, I think it's going to trigger a response out of someone. And it's who can maintain the level-headedness and composure in that situation that I believe is going to end up winning the fight and picking their opponent apart.
How much of a difference do you think fighting out in LA will play compared to Manchester in their first bout?
So I think Logan sort of let loose that Manchester really affected him. I remember seeing something, he said that really affected him. JJ thrives in situations like that. The first fight against Joe Weller, the whole of the UK stadium was booing him. He thrives in it. Like at breakfast, he said he was quite nervous, but once he gets in that situation and he feels that like, okay, there's some, I need to perform now. He does it. He never really crumbles in those situations. So I think he'll eat it up. He loves it. He gobbles it up.
Obviously, he has this huge social media following. He has his commitments away from boxing. What has he done with regards to putting it all kind of to the side, just to focus on his boxing? How has he found trying to juggle those commitments alongside?
I would say with this camp this time around, he said himself, like, boxing's taught him how to be like. He's a much better person now, I would agree, and he's managed to focus on things that need to be focused on and prioritise things a lot better. So we got all of our Sidemen work out the way and stuff like that. We took the measures so that he can fully focus on his thing. He organised the right sort of team, the right sort of camp and stuff like that. He's now got such a focused mind on the priorities that he needed to take to get to this position.
Obviously, I'm sure you'll understand, a lot of more hardcore boxing fans weren't pleased to see this fight made. What are your thoughts or reactions to those opinions?
Yeah, of course, there's an added bonus of a new audience. Like, you wouldn't usually see the people that have come out to this public workout to watch boxing. Like Billy Joe's up there now doing his part. That's a world championship fight, and that's a lot of talent in the ring that we're going to see on Saturday night as well. And I think it brings new eyes to the sport. But of course, I can see the boxing purists being a little bit angry with it. But you step in through a ring. Not a lot of these people were putting themselves through a grueling camp and then stepping in the ring with someone that wants to take you out. Like, someone's in there to try and cause you damage. And a lot of people, yeah, you've been watching the sport for a long time, but it's a whole different ballgame stepping inside the ring, especially in front of potentially a sold-out crowd and millions online. So I think you've got to hold your hands up. After the night, I think a lot of people will. I think a lot of the boxing purists will see that and say, do you know what? Fair fucking dues. Fair dues. They've had it out.
You've mentioned it's a new audience. What do you think the likelihood is that any of the new fans who watch this, who haven't maybe watched the boxing bout before, will stick to the sport and think, yes, I'm interested to see more of it?
Well, I think there's an easy answer to that. Vidal and JJ, from the first fight, from the second fight, they started doing their own boxing camps. There's loads of kids that are getting into the sport in general because they might not know what else to do with their lives. They might find something else to do, and they've started going to boxing camps. They've started tuning into more fights. And if there's the potential of Jake Paul or someone else fighting on another card, that will keep the subscribers over from a business point of view, right? But I think in terms of the audience, a lot of people are getting into the sport. A lot of people are taking it up as a new hobby, and I think that's only a positive thing.
What have you and the Sidemen, as you're all called, once again, I'll bring it up, what have you all kind of brought to the camp for JJ?
To the camp, I think we have brought that solidified like team mentality of like, we're going to do everything we can to make sure you can perform at the best of your ability. And we're always there in the chat. We're like, listen, don't get too ahead of yourselves. There's a guy in there that's going to take you out. You need to be training as hard as you can. You need to leave each session thinking, fuck, I've left nothing in there. Like, I've left nothing in the gym, because the worst thing you can do is go out there Saturday night and get back in the locker room and think, I didn't leave everything in there. So every training session and every time he's had to put on a performance, he needs to put everything in.
What do you think's been the most difficult thing that he's maybe had to try and adjust to with boxing this time around?
Adjust to this time? I think it will be the fact that it's now a professional fight and it's not a gimmick anymore. Like, the head guard thing, it's all fun and games, right? Like, anyone can realistically get in that. It's not sparring, right? This time it's getting in it's the mentality, I think. It's the mindset now of, I'm a pro fighter, I need to be on my fucking game now, fighting on a higher frequency. So I think it's just adjusting the mindset. I think Vidal would tell you that as well. It's a change in mindset this time. Like, he knows what he needs to do now.
You mentioned it's not sparring, but on the sparring front, who exactly has KSI been able to share a ring with to try and learn from?
He's been training with the Mayweather team over there, so they've got a few fighters in and around the gym. Musin Kaysen they've been sparring with. I think I've pronounced his name right, and he's been trying to emulate sort of some of the things that Logan might come out with. They've studied the footage, they've put him in with there. He's been in there with a few fighters that have a few fights on their records, and I suppose that's a good thing, because these guys will teach him stuff that you can only learn in a ring, like on the job. So just other pros.
Now, obviously, you've mentioned there's two other world champions fighting on this card, Billy Joe Saunders and Devin Haney. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Billy Joe and Devin?
So Billy Joe, I'm a big fan of. I've always loved his cheeky chappy sort of like attitude towards boxing, and I think he's got a lot to offer to the sport, and he's a fun face to watch, and he's also very, very, very talented. So I'm looking forward to tuning into that fight. And Devin Haney, upcoming prospect, very good. I like the look of him. Thinks he could have Lomachenko, which is interesting, but who knows? Yeah, he's a good prospect. I like him.
How would you see that one work out if he was to fight?
Woo! I love Loma. I love Loma. Loma's too good, boy. I think he'd edge him.
Well, Ethan Payne, aka Behzinga, I appreciate your time. Thanks for being myself and boxing.
No worries, mate.